It's Thursday. Here we are live. For those of you who are familiar with Gabby's Dollhouse. No, today we're just going to go live to talk about IGNiTE. Have a chance to talk about some of the sessions that we're doing and talk about what people can expect if they join us on September 3rd here in Madison, Wisconsin. I know this is kind of an impromptu live. We didn't schedule this thing, so people
we just thought, there's not enough going on in our lives.
No.
Let's go live.
People will come, people will go. But the idea behind it is give you guys a chance just to learn about IGNiTE and learn about what we're doing on September 3rd. Emma, do you want to give a quick introduction to the people that may only ancillarily know you by being connected to you?
Yeah, I can say I'll do an intro for anybody that might be joining us. As is always the case when we're going live, James and I talk to ourselves a lot in our house. It's the two of, not to ourselves. Don't make a face like that. I meant between the two of us. And we are constantly talking. So we want to interact with you and engage with you. So if you are popping on, say hello, tell us where you're joining from, ask questions about the event, ask questions about whatever you'd like, because as James said, this one's a little bit more impromptu. So we might even talk about more than just IGNiTE. But for anybody that doesn't know me well, my name is Emma Roloff. I am one half of the founding crew of Roloff Consulting, with James being the other half. And I have a deep experience in enterprise software sales, as well as diving into the concept of digital leadership, which we're going to talk a lot about here. And that's our focus within the business, is helping companies both get really clear on who they are, who they serve, what their underlying purpose is, and then how to take that strong purpose and bring it to the market and build authority and generate more business. And so we're going to talk all about the Digital Leadership Summit that is focused on those concepts, as well as James and I are currently in the process of editing our book on the topic as well. James, Great. Do you want to say hello to everyone?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I'm James. Older people call me Jim, but I'm James. And my background's in website design and marketing and sales there. And more than anything, my thought process here is that the best way to sell is to teach. And so a big part of what we do is teach people how to show up online as trusted authorities and be leaders in the digital world. And that's what we're doing at IGNiTE. So I'll quick talk about what IGNiTE is, and then we can break down some of the upcoming sessions. Like Emma said, drop your questions in the chat below. We may even give away, if you're in the Madison, Wisconsin area or local in general, and you want to join us, we may even give away a couple of free tickets to IGNiTE. So express your interest in the comment section, and we'll talk about that. But let's talk about what IGNiTE is. It is a one-day event here in Madison, Wisconsin. And it is designed for business leaders, typically those who are customer facing, so sales, marketing executives, who want to lead better in the digital world, both internally within your organization on how you lead your business with an open mindset and driven with a purpose towards what you're trying to do, and using technology to be effective at doing that, as well as leading externally. How do you show up online as a trusted leader, as someone in your industry that people want to follow and people want to work with? And IGNiTE is a full one-day event where we have sessions throughout the day to help leaders lead better in digital world. And it's beyond the actual sessions themselves, which this year I'm super excited about. It's our second year doing this. Last year we had some great content. This year, even more excited about what's happening in it. But beyond the content itself, there's also great people in that room too. There's business leaders from small businesses, large businesses, nonprofits, and they're all people that you want to be connected with. And there's some great conversations that happen. And we intentionally leave a lot of time for networking at the event, so that in between sessions you can meet people and you can build relationships. And probably, not my most favorite thing, but like close to my most favorite thing coming out of last year's event was just seeing the connections that were made, and then all the people online afterwards were commenting, engaging, and reconnecting with people that they met at the event. So a shorter summary of IGNiTE is that it's on September 3rd in Madison, Wisconsin, and it is a digital leadership summit. I'm not know if you have anything you want to add to that. Otherwise, I think what we could do is just start breaking down some of the sessions that people can look forward to attending.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about what everyone can expect. So James mentioned earlier in his intro that we are very firm believers over here that the best way to sell is to teach. And so we are going to kick off the summit with a joint keynote between me and my older brother. So, fun fact, both myself and Zach Heimerl, who will be joining us for that keynote, are past teachers that have then taken the step into the corporate world and specifically the technology space, and are constantly using the skill sets that we had from teaching in the classroom in getting in front of people, helping them understand complex concepts. And so we're going to be kicking it off with what we're calling the Favorite Teacher Toolkit, where we're going to help everybody understand how to take bits and pieces of what teachers do, or really good teachers do, in the classroom, and how to bring that into the way that you're educating your customers online. So ways to think about creating different types of content, how to really make a concept stick for people, and really step into the concept of becoming your client and prospect's favorite teacher on your specific area. But James, I obviously just talked about what the presentation would be, but I think you brought it up in your intro. So do you want to dive into just a quick explanation of what the favorite teacher framework is for people? You're muted.
Sorry, this is my first time using the internet. No, so this is something that I've been doing for a very long time now, as far as a methodology for selling. And this comes out of the fact that the way people buy now is different than before. Most of our buyers today, ourselves included, we go online and we do research before we want to talk to a sales rep or before we reach out to vendors. We like to do our own research because we know there's tons of good information out there on the internet. And so our philosophy or our methodology is called the favorite teacher framework. And the whole concept behind it is that you become your industry's favorite teacher. You put out educational content. You teach people in mass at scale online through things like social media, newsletters, webinars. You become the favorite teacher that they want to follow to get industry information and to learn from. And then when it comes time to buy, you are the go-to choice. And again, I know I shop this way, and we see it in the data too, that if you become that favorite teacher, if you become the company or the brand or the person that people follow to get information, more often than not, they don't even talk to your competitors. They just reach out to you directly because they know they want to work with you because you've already provided so much value to them. So a large part of what we do when working with companies is help them develop educational content that they can publish, put out to their audience, and build an audience, and then actually generate revenue from that too. So I'm super excited for Emma, your and Zach's presentation. That being previous teachers, you guys have a whole different perspective on what it means to create good educational content, and getting a little sneak preview of the outline for your presentation. I already know that information is going to be super valuable because people, I think a lot of people that come into the business world are naturally good teachers. They like empowering their prospects and their customers by teaching them things, teaching them how to use their products and their services and actually solve the problem that they're facing. But they don't have the formal training of what good educational content is. So I think this will be a great opportunity for people to learn how to teach, if that makes sense. To kind of learn some basics and some frameworks to get started.
Well, and I think there's things that, to your point, that people are naturally doing that maybe they second guess how effective they are, or would dig deeper into some of these strategies of what helps people within the classroom, then kind of translate in. But I think that there's a really simple things that people can easily adopt that will make them much more effective and help their customers. And I think going back to the broader concept of why this is something that we're so passionate about, I know you obviously talked about the buyer behavior shifts, but I also think that there's a reality of not a lot of people feel super comfortable stepping into a sales role. And especially for people that might be non-traditional salespeople, like founders who have found themselves like in a founder-led sales cycle right now, or executives who maybe came up through like a different aspect of the company and now are in a leadership role where they're finding themselves in a position where suddenly they have to generate revenue or be a part of that process. Reframing things from trying to sell a product to educating your customers is a really powerful thing. And I know for me individually, that was something that like really helped me when I was stepping into my sales role. And people always like laugh when I'm like, oh yeah, I started as a teacher, went to a corporate trainer, and then moved into software sales. And I've been there ever since. People will be like, oh, that's like a really big leap. But like in my mind, it isn't, because I've been doing the same thing, just like slightly different clothing and a different subject. And I can't wear my flowy dresses and my flower in my hair all the time anymore. But like those aspects of what I did in the classroom have been so instrumental for me, both as like a salesperson when I was in the enterprise software space, to now what we're doing every single day and how we grow our business too. So I'm excited to dive into that topic. And I'm also like, maybe it feels like kitschy to other people, but I'm excited to have the opportunity to present with my brother. A little like peek behind the curtain. He's 10 years older than I am. He's the one that inspired me to be a teacher in the first place. When people see him and meet him, they'll see probably exactly where all of my hand gestures and many other parts of my personality come from. And this will be the first time that we get to share the stage. So I'm really excited to get to do that and have that experience be a part of what we get to bring forward to everybody who joins us. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so that is session number 1, is how to create good educational content and tips on being a good teacher. The next session, we're bringing in Ian McCain. He's a repeat performancer from last year's IGNiTE, and he's going to be talking about leading with a creative and open mindset. He is a client we've been working with for a while now, and actually does software implementations, specifically workflow, automation, and document management in the credit union and financial space. But he also does improv, and he does a lot on that idea of open mindset and collaboratively working with people around you. So he's going to talk about taking some of those skills that come from the improv world and how we can use them to actually become better leaders in the business world. And last year, we're not going to go into all the details of all the fun stuff he did with us, but last year he did a great job of not only teaching us some new tactics and some new things, but he did a great job of actually getting the room to meet people and do things. And I will say this: I'm someone who hates like icebreaker activities, like go around the circle and, say your favorite color if you were a giraffe. Like I hate that stuff so much.
Sounds like you've been working with some people with bad
well, yeah. I mean, long story short, this is not like some sort of like kitschy icebreaker thing. He actually just does a really good job of teaching you how to work with other people. And these mindset shifts that he helps people make are really, really great. And I know that you take these back to your company, back to working with your clients, you will definitely benefit from it. Because I think, the big takeaway from here for me is that leadership is not just about like your skills and tactics. It's part of it is mindset. And I think this is a great opportunity in that session.
And I think one of my favorite things is anytime that you interact with Ian, and anybody who was at the event last year can probably attest to this, he's really funny. And so it's like a lot of fun to be in that session. He makes it interactive, like you said, but also like is an incredibly engaging and entertaining presenter. And so I'm excited to have him back for year 2 and helping us move through what has now become something that's going to be a part of every event is the rock, paper, scissors competition. Sounds kind of, to your point, like a icebreaker that's weird. But one of my favorite parts of last year's event was like, as we were doing Ian's session, we were making so much noise and people were engaging so much. And even people like you, James, who maybe aren't a big fan of that kind of stuff, getting into it, that like the staff of Park Hotel were coming in and peeking to see what the hell was going on, because it didn't feel like a corporate event and it didn't feel the same as what they see on like a typical Thursday morning. And so that was like a fun piece for me to like look up and see them all like being like, what is this and why is it so different? Because that's our goal, is we want you to step outside of your comfort zone. We want you to try things that maybe you would say no to in other circumstances, so that when you leave, it's kind of like, fear stacking kind of concept of like, once you leave, you realize that that thing that you didn't want to do wasn't that big of a deal, and you actually maybe had a little fun with it. So when you get home, you're willing to take a step or try something new or step outside of your comfort zone in a different way. And then beyond that, it does break the ice, and it made for some really great conversations, and all of the networking stuff that we had after the fact. People that may not have crossed paths before were in deep conversations, learning things from one another. And then, as you said, that carried on beyond the event as well.
Yes. So that is session number 2. And then the final session of the morning, we are bringing in Casey Lynch, who's the national managing partner of Tyson and Mendez, a law firm. And they are a perfect example of a company that is led with a strong mission and a strong purpose. So Casey, as the leader, as a leader in the company, is going to come in and talk about that. And Emma, you're obviously the one doing the interview in the fireside chat, so maybe you can shed a little more light on the conversation that you're hoping to have with Casey.
Yeah, I mean, just at a base level, Casey is one of those leaders that I deeply admire. And I've had enough conversations with her as a client and a friend to get to peek into what's happening within the company, the way that they educate their team, the way that they work with their team, how she is open to feedback and open to learning. And all of the concepts that we talk about when we talk about digital leadership are things that Casey innately does. And she is going to not only talk about like the purpose-driven component and how they use that to make sure that their team is aligned and understands that, or like how to take steps forward united as a group and how to better serve their customers, but also talking to her about things like, how do you get comfortable with your team challenging you with the question of why? How do you think through what your role is as the leader of like enabling innovation and those types of things within your company? Because it, like, that purpose informs so much of how a company is successful. And so I'm really excited to sit down and get the opportunity to talk with Casey about her leadership journey, how she's gotten to the point that she's at, how some of the other, like the founders of the firm, set that foundation for her to be able to come in and build on as well. And so I'm really excited to get the chance to sit down and have that conversation with her.
Yes, that will be great. And then it will be lunchtime. And to be determined if we're going to get country fried chicken or Mexican. Those are the 2 options we've narrowed it down to for lunch. But either way, you're in for a special lunchtime treat. Again, plenty of networking. And then following lunch, our afternoon session will start with a panel of a couple different small business owners talking about how they use social media to grow their business. And we have a very nice, diverse group of people from different industries and different perspectives to come in and talk about that. These are people that we've been following or engaging with for a very long time. One's an insurance agent. One is a software provider, software creator, and then one is a process consultant. And they all do a great job of staying active on social media. And all of them can definitely point back to their content and their ability to build a personal brand, build thought leadership practice, and build an educational sales funnel to actually, grow their business. So that's going to be a great session. And I think that, again, when you look at, this is more, get into like the tactics and strategy side of things. They all do a different way of doing content and social media, which I think is really important to get different perspectives. And especially for, like, you obviously alluded to it, Emma, earlier, like a lot of people that are running small businesses don't really see themselves as like salespeople or content creators or marketing people. And I'm, obviously it hasn't happened yet. We haven't had the panel discussion yet, but I'm hoping a big takeaway from that session is going to be that there's different ways of doing it. You don't have to do it one way or the other. use to define your way of doing it. And maybe, if you're in the audience, you'd be able to draw some inspiration from hearing what some other panelists are doing. So you can go back, to your home office or your office, and start trying some of those tactics there. But maybe, Emma, you have some more thoughts on that panel discussion.
Yeah. So a couple of things, like Philip Morris is going to come and moderate the panel for us again. And he is active on social media, has been a big supporter of us. I'm excited to have him back again to help us manage that conversation, but he's also able to infuse his own experience into the conversation. Alex DePazzo, who you mentioned, is an insurance agent who will be joining us from Miami, is coming up to speak on the panel. And he's got a very different viewpoint than even myself on how to on different aspects of content, to your point, how he approaches it, the way he thinks about it, but he definitely sees it as a strategic tool for his business. And it's been a big part of how they've grown the agency, and also just a deep belief that education is a really powerful tool, especially within the insurance industry. So I'm excited to get Alex's viewpoints into the discussion. Bobby Cerveza, as you mentioned, is a founder of a multi-founder. This is, I think, her third startup company that she's running right now. And I love that Bobby's going to be a part of the conversation too, because her content style is very much building in public. And I think that that's a really important concept for a lot of people to hear about and learn about and see in practice. And again, services on the insurance agent side versus software development. Those are two different industries, but a lot of our customers fall into both of those buckets. And so I think that there's some aspects that will be really cool about the conversation there. And then David Chrysler, as you mentioned, is coming from a completely different industry as well, with a manufacturing background, really focused on process. But also David, I feel like I had him on last week, I think, or maybe 2 weeks ago for an IGNiTE session preview like we're doing right now. And he talked a lot about how he wouldn't be in business if it wasn't for content. And so he's been creating kind of that builder mindset similar to Bobby, but in a different vein. And Bobby and David are also very different people. And so the way that they show up in their content, and Alex to that effect as well, it's very different for all of them. But all three of them are people that I admire in terms of the way that they approach business, the way that they approach their content. And I think one of the things that I find really interesting when we get the opportunity to have these conversations, and this happened with our panel last year too, is not only talking about what has it done from a business growth perspective for the company, for you to be creating content, but also how has it changed you as a leader? And how has it made you think through your business differently? How has it made you think about your interaction with your team differently? And all of those components, I think, is a really important part of this, because oftentimes we think content is marketing and marketing is tied to revenue and revenue only. But there's this really interesting piece about content that I think truly makes you better at your job and challenges your viewpoints on how you go to market, but also different components of your own individual leadership style. And I know for myself and the way that I've gone about content creation, that was a really sneaky benefit of it, is that I feel like I got better at my job. I learned more about different aspects of technology. I got kind of obsessed with change management strictly because of creating content and really diving into that and building out some of the frameworks and the things that I'm known for. And so I want to hear that vantage point as well. Not just what has it done from a revenue standpoint, but what has it done for them individually as leaders as well.
Yes, so that'll be exciting. Good panel. And the last presentation of the day is a newer topic for us to bring into the fold, but one that I think is heavily sought after and requested. And that is, how do you build influence in a personal brand while you're working for a large multinational organization? So we have our friend Ryan coming in. When we were building the conference, he was at Red Hat Linux, and then now he's actually at Broadcom. So large tech company, super smart guy, super influential guy. He does a lot of stuff in the open source space, as you can imagine, coming from a Linux organization. And he's going to talk about what it means for him to build that influence and build his personal brand and build his reach while working for a large multinational organization. So we hear it all the time. It's a big struggle, right? When you work for a large company, how much can you post? What should you be posting about? How do you carve out your own influence? I mean this in like a good way, not right now like I'm a Kim Kardashian influence way, but like a legit like, hey, I want to make an impact. I want to build community. I want to build up my network. But I work for a large organization. So I think a lot of times, just like the previous panel, before this presentation from Ryan, a lot of times it's small business people that are out there creating content for themselves to grow their business. And he is a prime example of like you can work for a large organization and build influence for yourself. And kind of carve out your own path in the world too. So that will be a great presentation. He's going to have, I know Ryan, he's going to have tons and tons of really good tactics, strategies, ideas for you to be putting into place too. And then for the tech space, he's probably a great person for you to talk to as well.
One of the things that I love about Ryan's journey is that it's a little different than maybe building influence in the concept of like how we were talking about with the panel. Ryan has done a really great job of building community and events within the Madison area tied to the open source space, elevating himself to the national stage with those components. And it is not necessarily tied to content creation in the same aspect of like how Emma uses TikTok. And so I think, again, my favorite part of this is that we get to bring people forward that have a similar philosophy, but different tactics than us, to help everybody in the room be able to leave and feel like they were able to see themselves in one of the presenters. So maybe you're not interested in making an ass out of yourself on the internet like I made James do earlier this week, dressed like Jennifer Lopez. That one was him following her own advice.
I mean, to be clear, that was not Emma. Weston on our team was the one who actually came up with the idea. And I let the task of recording that sit in our project management tool for a good 4 to 5 weeks before I committed to it.
And you stepped outside of your comfort zone. But I think the point is that it doesn't always have to be that, right? Or it doesn't have to be picking up your phone and having a conversation directly with people on video. Ryan's a really great example of finding your own way to build that influence and build a community. And he's done an incredible job of building out that like open source community in Madison and taking it, nationally with the presentations and stuff that he's doing. And it's a fun full circle moment for us again. Ryan is a friend of ours from college. Any other Badgers that will be in the room? This is like, we were literally just friends by happenstance back in the day. And the event and all of this has been able to bring him back forward and into our fold again, which is really fun.
To be clear, I'm not a Badger. I'm an Edgewood Eagle. Yeah. So and also to be clear, people who go to Edgewood don't make weird eagle noises when they're talking about their previous schooling. We're pulling in live comments because Josh is here. He's saying morning from the West Coast. It's still morning in Central America, Central United States.
I don't think we live in Central America.
Central United States. Josh was at the event last year. Great to meet in person. He can't go this year because his parents are visiting. So, but he loved Ian's presentation. We loved Ian's presentation. We love seeing you last year, Josh. We'll see you again soon. I'm sure we'll find a way. And then the last presentation of the day is just going to be Q&A with myself and Emalea here, talking about our upcoming book on digital leadership. We're going to talk about topics in the book, which is essentially the central themes of our event, right? Like internal leadership, how to lead a purpose-driven organization, as well as external authority and how to build trust in the marketplace by creating educational content and truly being a digital leader, right? The subtitle of our book is How to Be a Trusted Leader in a World of Followers, because as everyone in the world is just contributing to more noise, following trends, posting AI slop, yada, yada. We want to help people be true leaders and trusted leaders. So we're going to talk about some of the concepts in our book. My gut feel is that a large majority of the conversation will probably just go back to themes we heard during the day, probably kind of a half of it being a recap of the event. And then following that Q&A, we're going to have a happy hour. We're going to be upstairs at the top of the park. So the venue we're staying at for the day is the Park Hotel, and shout out they're a sponsor of the event too. So thank you, Park Hotel. We're going to go. So Park Hotel is located right on the Capitol Square in Madison, Wisconsin. So it's a beautiful spot that overlooks the Wisconsin State Capitol, which I will say is probably one of, if not the best looking Capitol building in America. I was going to say Central America. No, in America. And so the happy hour is going to be on their upstairs, the top floor overlooking the Capitol. It's a great spot to kind of continue those conversations that you had at the event, meet some new people. And I truly think, people ask me like what the big takeaway is that from the event and what we're looking to do to people, for people as they register and attend the event. Not two people. We're not going to do things to people. No, what the event will do for people. And the resounding feedback we got from last year's event was that it helped shape people's mindsets and get them excited about leading in the digital world.
Take action.
That's what I'm saying. Actually doing things, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that this, the people you meet there will help you in that journey too, because you will see our presenters, and you will connect with them online, and you will see what they're doing, and you'll get to know them. The actual size of the event. I think last year we had around 75, 80 people there. Likely same thing this year in that same area. And it's a very nice size event where you actually get to go around and meet people. And it's not like you're at some massive conference, but at the same time, the quality of the content is great. So you'll be able to leave the event inspired, having met some people, ready to take action. And like I said, that happy hour networking is kind of a nice little cap on the day to have those conversations and get inspired.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that I want to add to the conversation, kind of going back to what you said, tied to the book and the Q&A there. Whether it's the book or the conference, part of the reason that there's going to be overlap is that this concept of digital leadership is something that James and I are both really passionate about. And it's a big concept to tackle. And but it is so important to us because it's kind of the culmination of everything both of us have been seeing throughout our careers. And for people that have followed me in the past, I do a lot of speaking tied to large scale technology transformations and change management. And then I come and we're putting on a conference where we're talking about content, and that might not have a clear through line for people until they get a handle on this concept of digital leadership. And how important the internal aspects of leading your team and having a strong purpose and a strong why behind what you're doing is before you go out into the market and you start sharing who you are and what you do and how you help your customers. Because if you don't have that foundation internally, once you get out into the market and you're trying to educate somebody, you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know why the problem matters for them. And that's when you fall into that space of being noise. And James and I are both obviously very, very passionate about the concept of getting out there, sharing and educating and being active online and building that following, but it has to be for a purpose. And if you want it to grow your business, it needs to be rooted in value and how you're helping your customer. And so those two ideas in my mind are linked lockstep. And so it's been really fun for me over the last couple of years, with the event last year, as we've been working on the book through pretty much since we wrapped the event last year to now, to see those concepts really put together in one place. Driving that conversation forward is so important to me. And there's a lot to it. There's a lot of moving parts when you start talking about both internal leadership and external authority and building that trust in the market. But to build that trust in the market, you have to have that trust internally, and you have to have that why to be able to build that authority. And so you can't have one without the other, in my mind. And so I'm really excited to dive into that topic a little bit more and share a sneak peek of the book, but also to watch that play out on stage, because every single person that we have selected to come forward and like take the stage and share their wisdom with you is somebody who has done that foundational work and is now taking that foundational work and building authority in the market. And so they're doing all of these things, and that's a part of their leadership journey. And it's no longer like a nice to have, especially with AI slap and everything coming out and all over the place. The people that are going to stand out are the ones who have done that work and are showing up from a place of authenticity. And so I really hope that we can inspire people to go back and maybe have some different conversations internally with their team tied to their purpose and their why, and then go out and take action and bringing that forward to their industry.
And if you needed someone to tell you to go, Michael Seeley just commented, definitely go to the IGNiTE Summit. So if it's not us telling you, Michael's telling you to do it too. Michael was there last year. I saw he registered this year too. So we're looking forward to seeing you again, Michael. And here's a fun fact: Michael was actually a former teacher too. And so his YouTube handle's right there. He does great YouTube content. He's a business coach and leadership coach. So if you want that kind of stuff, check out his YouTube channel. And he obviously has embraced the mindset of being a teacher too. So
Michael's not the only past teacher in our community either. We're making us teachers, we're coming for the business world.
Well, I mean, this is, I simply put, my philosophy of business when it comes to sales and marketing, it is that the best way to sell is to teach. And you want to be your industry's favorite teacher. And that's a mindset, a methodology, a thought process that I've had for 12 years now, 13 years in doing sales and marketing. So that comes out strongly, obviously, in what we're doing. That's IGNiTE in a nutshell. And hopefully kind of us walking through all of the different sessions here help shed some light for you. I'm truly excited for this year's content. I'm excited to have a room with people in there who are ready to get started, ready to build some relationships, and ready to grow, right? And I say that both in terms of their business, but also personally. I think that what you do with the work that you do is so closely tied with your personal growth too. And this event that we're putting on, I'm really trying to get the idea of weaving that together, right? Like you are personally growing by learning some of these things, learning how to be that favorite teacher, learning how to take chances, learning how to put yourself out there. But at the same time, you do these things, you will grow your business too, or you will grow your career no matter what role you're in. So that's my spiel. Emma, anything else you want to add to the audience today?
One note that I will make as well is that last year we had, was it 18 different industries, James?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So not everybody that you're going to meet in the room is up against every single challenge that you're interacting with. But rising to the occasion of being a leader in a world full of technology is something that crosses industry lines. And one of the things that I really love about this event is, like, we have industries that we work closely with, obviously, like manufacturing, legal, insurance. They all have people on the stage that are doing those things, like pure play technology, right? There will be people in the room that do have some of the same challenges from like the tactical day-to-day business components. But again, from the concept of growing, opening up your mindset and looking around to see where there are opportunities for you to expand. One of my favorite things is that, like, there are different people that you might not get the chance to meet otherwise in that room. And that is a unique thing. A lot of times when you go to a conference, you're surrounded by people that are in your industry, and there's benefit and value to that. But there's immense benefit and value to being able to look across industry lines, see trends, and kind of rise up above that and focus on how to grow as an individual and how to grow your business. So I promise you're going to meet someone that you might not have met in a different environment if you come to the event. And we're going to hopefully change your mindset and get you to think about things a little bit differently and it all in one day.
Yes.
Well,
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, jinxies.
Oh, geez. Thank you everyone for joining us. If you have any, I'll obviously, Emma's streaming this from her LinkedIn. It's on our YouTube channels too. I'll probably reshare this on my LinkedIn in the coming days here. So if you are watching this in the future, first of all, hello from the past. But drop any comments down below. We're going to respond to them afterwards. DM either one of us if you have any questions about the event. If you're looking to join, any questions, we would love to have you there.
All right, everybody, have a wonderful Thursday, and we will see you in a couple of weeks at IGNiTE.
Thank you.